All right, ladies and gentlemen, the new dungeon weapons are finally here. Well, they've been here since the launch of the dungeon, but their perks and roles have been hidden in the API, but not anymore. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at one of the new dungeon weapons, the SMG Unforgiven. We're going to be taking a look at the weapon itself, the perks, the multiple god rolls, because this thing has some juicy combinations, and why, if you're using Void 3.0, you need to toss the Funnelweb in the vault because there's a new king on the block. But before we get started, you all know the drill. If you're new, and only if you enjoy my videos or find them useful, then feel free to subscribe. I'd appreciate it. All right, let's get into this weapon. So first up, some general information about this weapon. Of course, it is acquired via the new Duality Dungeon. It is not craftable, which I don't know whether to be happy or sad about, especially with how hard red borders are to get nowadays. But this also means that it sadly does not have access to enhanced perks. Loot table on screen now for the new dungeon. Unforgiven drops from the second and third encounter, aka vault and boss. Now, if you somehow don't know, the dungeon can be infinitely farmed, and not just for loot you've already gotten. Like if you do your first run of the week, and let's say you get all armor, and you've never gotten a weapon from the dungeon, you can do it again on that same character that same week and get weapons. Okay, so two more things to know about the weapon before the perks. First is stats on screen now. It's a 750 RPM aggressive frame void SMG. 750 RPM SMGs aren't that common. In fact, I can't remember another 750 SMG besides the Guardian Games one off the top of my head. Like I just, I just don't know another one. Also gonna throw up Funnelweb stats because I know people are going to ask. Unforgiven has better impact and range. Almost everything else Funnelweb has a beat. Also, I know the stability stat looks bad, but in game, even on a controller, it's not as bad as it looks, and more than makes up for its okay stats with its perks. And then the second thing for this weapon, its origin perk, Bitter Spite. While this weapon is equipped, taking damage accelerates its next reload. Taking more damage increases the effect. Honestly, a good origin perk, because no matter what you're doing in Destiny, you're always going to be taking some form of damage, and this helps make up for its mediocre base reload speed and its somewhat low mag size, because, well, you're just going to be able to get another mag in there much faster. Now for the perks. In column 1, you have 9 barrel options, and right out of the gate, if you're on controller, just grab stability. You have options like polygon rifling for just straight stability, chambered compensator for stability and recoil direction, though a penalty to handling, and small bore for stability / range, and that's just to name a few. Then for M&K, stability doesn't matter, so just go with range. Hammer forged, full bore, extended doesn't really matter as long as it has range. Next up, column 2, where I feel like we normally have 7 mag options on like SMGs and whatnot, but on Unforgiven, we have 8. Now, I could beat around the bush here and say, oh, you could use this or that, but Ricochet is literally the best here for both controller and M&K. Range plus stability is literally all I need in life. I don't know about you all, but I could sleep happy at night knowing that all my weapons have range plus stability. Now, you could make the argument for high cal and M&K since stability isn't really needed and it would give you the ability to stun like miners, but I mean, come on, red bar enemies, they're gonna die in a few shots anyway. High cal is more of a PvP perk in my opinion, but it does have some effect in PvP. So if you get it on your random roll and you're on M&K, well then don't worry about it, it's still good. In fact, it has the same range benefit as Ricochet rounds. Now for the columns we actually care about. In column 3, you have 6 perks. Tunnel Vision, Steady Hands, Feeding Frenzy, Well-Rounded, Fragile Focus, and Demolitionist. Now, right off the bat, if you're looking for that classic reload perk, Feeding Frenzy. I probably don't need to explain what Feeding Frenzy is, it's just a stacking reload buff. But if you're more into like a utility perk, you know, you're using your abilities a lot, and you still want a weapon that's gonna help with reload, but also gonna help with that, well then you got Demolitionist. Primary weapon kills grant 10% of your grenade energy, and throwing a grenade auto reloads your weapon. Demo and Feeding Frenzy are my top 2 picks for this column, but there are 2 other perks that I quickly want to mention, Well-Rounded and Fragile Focus, which are both new this season. Well-Rounded grants a stacking bonus to stability, handling, and range after throwing a grenade or hitting an enemy with a charge melee. Then Fragile Focus, which grants bonus range to the weapon until you take damage. The bonus returns when no damage is taken for a short duration. Well-Rounded might actually be pretty good for that stability and range increase, especially if you're using your grenade or your charge melee a lot. But when it comes to Fragile Focus, I just can't see it being that good for PvE. Maybe PvP, but yeah, I mean, it directly activates the opposite way of the origin perk. I could see the argument of, oh, well, when you're not taking damage and you want the weapon to perform to the best of its ability, then when you do take damage, Bitter Spite activates and you can get to cover, pop a really fast reload. But even then, I'm still not taking it over the other perks that we've talked about in this column. And finally, column 4, where it is absolutely stunning stacked. You have Adrenaline Junkie, Frenzy, Rampage, Repulsor Brace, Golden Tricorn, and Dragonfly. It's honestly easier just to tell you what I don't recommend, and well, it's only really one perk, that being Dragonfly. Listen, all right, I love Dragonfly just as much as the next Guardian, but on an SMG, negative. But yeah, let's get back to the other perks. First up, Adrenaline Junkie, paired with Demo from column 3. Get a weapon kill and you're getting 10% of your grenade back and a damage buff. Adrenaline Junkie is going to stack all the way up to ×5 or 5 weapon kills for a 33% damage increase with a duration of 4.5 seconds. Then when you do get your nade, and remember you're getting your nade faster because of Demo, throwing it will auto reload the weapon and immediately grant ×5 Adrenaline Junkie. Overall, a great combo even if you're not running a grenade build. Next up is Feeding Frenzy with Frenzy. You can tell by their names that they were made for each other. With Frenzy being in combat meaning deal or receive damage, it's going to grant you a 15% damage increase and a +50 to handling / reload speed for 12 seconds. It can even be activated if the weapon is stowed, so you don't even have to have the weapon out for Frenzy to activate. Then throw Feeding Frenzy on top of it for a +100 to reload after 5 kills / ×5 stack, and you might not even be able to see yourself reloading. Then Rampage, which can easily be paired with Feeding Frenzy. Rampage is probably the most iconic damage perk in D2. You get 3 kills and now you're doing 33% more damage for 3.5 seconds. Next is Repulsor Brace, which is new this season and states defeating a void debuff target grants an overshield. So if you're looking for better survivability or you're just going for a tank build, then this is your perk, as long as you don't mind not having a damage perk on this weapon. Pair this up with Demo in column 3 and something like Echo of Undermining, and you're gonna be debuffing enemies and getting an overshield pretty much 24/7. And finally, Golden Tricorn, which after just 1 kill grants a 15% damage increase for 5 seconds, and it can be constantly refreshed by just getting more kills. Then if you get a grenade or charge melee kill, it bumps the damage increase up from 15 to 50 for 10 seconds, and that can also be constantly refreshed by just getting more grenade / charge melee kills. Pair this with Demo for constant nades and you're in for a good time. There are just so many good options on this weapon to fit almost any playstyle you have, whereas with Funnelweb, you only really got like 1 or 2 good rolls. Both of them are void, so you still got volatile rounds, and you're smoking whatever the Drifter has if you think Bungie isn't gonna bring back volatile flow by the end of Witch Queen. It's too much of a fan favorite, and I'm predicting this season before Lightfall. So not next season with Arc 3.0, but this season after, I guarantee we are going to get volatile flow back. It's kind of like Oppressive Darkness. They first introduced it at the start of Shadowkeep, and then they bought it back because it was so much of a fan favorite at the end of Shadowkeep, or somewhere around the end. Unforgiven is also much easier to farm because, well, you actually know where to farm it. Unlike Funnelweb, where the only farm that we've ever had was to download the game on a completely different platform and open chest. And for all my solo players out there, the dungeon is soloable, and a lot of LFG teams that do the dungeon, they don't even require comms. It's a much better RPM for controller players, that being 750 versus Funnelweb at 900, etc, etc. All around, it just beats out Funnelweb in my books. But that is Unforgiven. It's God roll, and why, in my opinion, that it's better than Funnelweb, and honestly the king of Void 3.0 when it comes to your SMG primary. But let me know your thoughts on Unforgiven down below. Which rolls are you going for? Personally, I'm looking for that Feeding Frenzy roll, so if you got that, then I'm big jealous. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. With all that being said, feel free to drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.